The Teen Phantom Part 16 in audio. When Charlotte opens her eyes, she takes in the surrounding scenery. It is elusive. There are no lakes here in the woods as is seen now. I thought there was a passage at the end of the trail. How do you make it daylight with real-looking suns? The sun rays are piped down here in mirrored tubes. They focus on the spots that look like little suns. The little suns have a special shape to bend the rays back out to form the little sun. When the sun is not shining, we have a technique that duplicates the sun. You never noticed, but the rooftop garden has the sun pipe to it, also. Without the sun, those kinds of plants would not grow the way they do in the shade of all those trees. The buggy comes to a stop where the passage has widened. My great-grandfather insisted on having breakfast with the both of us. Since my visit with you and Nikki, he has been so excited about you. He is like a little kid with a new toy. Mello takes Charlotte's hand, leading her through a few corridors. It ends in a little lounge. There is a sofa and 3 recliners in it. Mello and Charlotte sit in the 2 recliners that face one another. My great-grandfather's name is Albert Troy Stewart. They visit for a few minutes before Mello says, "Let's go into the dining room. I will introduce you to my great-grandfather." When they enter the little dining room, Mello's great-grandfather stands facing the door as if he has been waiting for them to enter. He is dressed in jeans and a nice shirt. It is in the same manner as Mello dresses. His hair, what remains on his head, it is in a horseshoe band on the crown of his head. A full, nicely trimmed beard and mustache are all silver. He is healthy and vibrant. His kind eyes are like Mello's eyes. He is shorter than Mello, much thinner, and with a pleasant, concerned smile. Mello introduces them formally, and his great-grandfather extends both arms out to Charlotte, his palms up. Softly he speaks, "This is the great day I have been waiting for so long." The statement "waiting for so long" sends Charlotte's thoughts into a tailspin, but she reaches out to take his hands. He takes her hands in his and holds her at arm's length. He searches Charlotte's face with his kind eyes very admiringly for what it seems to Charlotte to be for ages. Then he lets go of her left hand, leading her by her right hand to the far end of the only table in the room. He pulls the chair out and he seats her at the table with elegance you would never expect of a person his age. He then walks to the far end of the table and seats himself. "For now you may just address me as Albert if you like, that would probably be best." Charlotte becomes very concerned. Why has Albert made his last statement? What else would I call him? She dismisses the thought very quickly. Mello seats himself in the middle on her right. The table is not a large one, it would only accommodate 6 comfortably. The dining room looks to be 40 by 60 feet. The walls from floor to ceiling all have murals behind glass. It has trees in the foreground and lakes in the background. Charlotte let her thoughts drift to the great creator. It is marvelous the way the great creator has provided for our appreciated life here on earth. "Do you like eating in the forest, Sasha?" "Oh yes, I love the murals, Albert." Albert gives her an amusing smile. She turns to Mello and he looks ready to fall apart with laughter. She turns back to Albert. Something catches her attention in her side vision to her left. There is the sound of rustling leaves. She turns to look, then she notices the sound of the forest. The lakes have disappeared. There are 2 squirrels scampering up a tree 50 feet away. Then she realizes the murals and glass are gone. The fragrances of the forest are now breathing softly on them. She is speechless. Her vision is a bit hazy. Moisture has filled her eyes. It seems Mello and Albert has obscure vision as well. She devotes attention to her food. Charlotte welcomes this wonderful atmosphere. The name with which Albert addressed Charlotte comes drifting back. She is rather confused. She closes herself in her little world. "I wonder why I like having him call me Sasha. It was just like my father calling me Tyke. Have I met Albert before?" She looks up and stares at Albert as he busies himself eating. She envisions a faint memory, it must have been a dream. With much effort she manages to push her thoughts back out into an isolated cavity. Charlotte lets the magic of the forest fill her senses, and being it is truly paradise. They finish their breakfast in silence, then they all go back to the lounge. Charlotte sits in the recliner she had sat in before. Albert sits in the one Mello had sat in before. Mello sits on the sofa. When they are settled, Mello is the first to speak. Albert, I think Sasha would prefer to be called Charlotte. Charlotte feels embarrassed and speaks up very hastily. Oh no, that's all right, Albert. I want you to call me whatever you like, just like my dad does. Then she is wondering why she has spoken such a thing. Is it because of your mother you don't like your name, Sasha? I don't know. Do you know my mother? Yes, I do quite well, though not personally. I have met her quite a few times. She is not aware of it. Sasha is a very honorable name. It means helper of man. I think it is a very beautiful name. If you would rather I call you Charlotte, I have no problems with that. Oh no, I want you to call me Sasha. You even say it as if you think it is beautiful and think of it with respect. You have not changed in spirit, that is, but you have turned into a fine young lady. What do you mean? Have you known me all my life? In a roundabout way I have. We live sort of shaded lives, you know. You spent some time with me when you were almost 3. I suggested to your father that he organize your life so you could grow up free without prejudice. Then we spent time together when you were 4. It was on your birthday actually. Mello tells me you have a dear sister. Yes, in the last day or so we have become close. Before that we were strangers. Mom has hurt Jane, and it is so unfair. Don't be too hard on your mother. Part of the reason for your distant relationship is your father letting you grow free. He could not do that with Jane. Your mother just does not understand. I suppose my mother has been difficult even for my father. Yes, he has had some very concerned thoughts regarding your mother. She changed a little after the little vanity speech. Charlotte feels her face warming a little. No, you know about that. Yes, I was there in a roundabout way. Oh, that way, evidently you saw the DVDs. Yes, I did. I can relax your mind on some things concerning your mother. I could even help you to understand Jane better. Do speak, I will be grateful, Albert. Albert tells Charlotte many secrets about her mother and Jane, then he speaks of her father. We have some fine scientists. Your father has led the way to some of our most needed discoveries. I must let you go, you and Mello have vital affairs to discuss. Mello and Charlotte get up, they say their farewells, and head out the door. Charlotte feels strange and empty as Mello and she leaves the room. Charlotte turns back to Albert with a request. Mello continues on down the corridor. Albert, would you mind if I hugged you? Would I mind? It would be the most comforting thing to happen to me in ages. Charlotte soon finds herself in his lap with her arms around him. You are a precious child, you rate very high in my respect. I am sure you would like to know. I am sure you will keep it confidential, but do tell Mello in your time. I will be 110 on July the 1st. He then gives Charlotte one of those special kisses on the cheek. She feels a very satisfying comfort as her feet touches the floor again. In the corridor before Charlotte leaves, she turns back. I feel very close to you, Albert. You are like my great-grandfather. And Sasha, you feel like my great-granddaughter. Mello had progressed down the corridor about 50 feet. When Charlotte catches up, he takes her hand, and they move in silence. A startling fact comes in focus. It is such a coincidence. It is also Charlotte's birthday. She is 13 years old, July the 1st. Mello squeezes Charlotte's hand and stops. He pushes some buttons on his cell phone and the wall to their left opens. This is the library. We can continue our talk in the study. As they step into the library, Charlotte notices a special shelf. Pillars at each end support it. On it is an ancient set of encyclopedias. There is a sign across the top. The Encyclopedia of Universal Knowledge. What a display for a set of ancient books. Are they sacred or have high respect? Not really, they do hold some very strange history that both Catholic and Protestants think it to be destroyed. The volume that contains the information is missing in Washington, D.C. We may have the only complete set that exists. Someone thought it vital to pull it from the records. What can be so vital that they want history destroyed? Catholic Church means universal church. The old Roman Empire established it. It is a conglomerate of all the major religions of that time tolerated by the Roman Empire. It is a contaminated form of Christianity. I know that part of history quite well. Christmas is linked to the major religious festivities Saturnalia, at which they made merry and gave gifts to each other. I think it lasted a week. It has to do with what it says in Revelation. They made merry and gave gifts one to another when they killed the prophets. Yes, I think you see it correctly. I wait for this devastating history that must be destroyed. It is like this: the Catholics think they are the only unbroken lineage descending from Jesus and the apostles. The Protestants accept it. In reality, they are Catholic. They are the Catholics' rebellious children. In this encyclopedia it tells about several places in South Africa where small groups existed in secrecy when all Christians were being annihilated who would not accept the Catholic doctrines and authority. All of this makes my blood boil, to think there are people, claiming to be Christians, that try to destroy history. I had a very hard time with my anger, studying that part of history. I do not see how anyone can think themselves to be Christians and massacre innocent people, in the name of Christianity. Charlotte, you cannot destroy truth. You can try to hide it. They settle themselves in a couple of the special recliner chairs and maneuver them to face each other. Charlotte, we are what we are by the spirit we possess, the way we think and live, not by our lineage. Yes, if all I had to look to is lineage, I would be a sorry case of failure. My spirit connects me to my great creator, not an ignorant and elusive myth of a lineage. Mello, do you mind if I change the subject? It is fine with me, go ahead. You must share your great-grandfather with me. I feel closer to your great-grandfather than I feel to any of my grandparents. Of course, I have never seen any of them. My father's parents were killed in an airplane accident before I was born. On my mother's side, she was an orphan. A rich family adopted her. Her adopted parents were killed in an airplane accident also. I was very young, so I don't remember them either. So you never knew any of your grandparents? I have a great-grandfather now. He means more to me than all four of my blood relatives. You really mean that, don't you? Would you help me organize a nice meal for the three of us on the 1st of July? Why do you want it July the 1st? It is our birthday. It is mine and also great-grandpa's. It is your birthday and that of my great-grandpa. Okay, will you help me then? I will do more than that. I will take care of everything. I do not want you to worry about a thing. You have too many more vital things with which to occupy your time. You are very kind. You can see my overextended life. How did you know Grandpa's birth date? I went back to give him a hug, and he said he knew I would keep it confidential. He said to let you know, but in my own time. He will have lived 11 decades, and I, a baker's dozen. Is he really that old? He is 110 years. You will be 12, I thought you were 12 now. I said a baker's dozen. My father says it is 13. Oh, I have never heard that one. You have an interesting way of putting everything and I love it.